Chapter 143, 129 Battle Divine General /2. Understood. At the same time, at the top of the buildings beside the road, two figures cloaked in night black attire stood amidst the curtain of rain, one wearing a metallic black tiger mask, the other a black dragon mask. It was Li Gui and Wu Zun. Wu Zun said, "This time, during the cooperative training with the police, I suspect some people won't be able to resist acting. Let's take this opportunity to see if we can catch a few big fish." Li Gui said, "It would be best to complete the training peacefully. The main task of our martial arts university is to cultivate talent. Dealing with crime is the responsibility of the military department and the police." Wu Zun sighed. "I also wish nothing would happen, but there are always those who cause trouble each year. Even though we've done our best to keep the training confidential, leaks still occur." Li Gui said, "Let's just wait and see. If this operation gets exposed, then I think the Stone Lake precinct must have a mole. The scope for our investigation will be narrowed down after that." Wind Wave Forest. On a painted boat on the artificial lake, a gaunt old man held a strange bowl-like object in his hand, filled with a deep red liquid that emitted a faint bloody scent. He bit his own finger, dipping it into the bowl. As the two bloods mixed, they underwent some anomaly, turning into a rich, dark green color while an exotic fragrance filled the air. The believers present sniffed and felt as if they were floating, as if they had entered the legendary paradise. The gaunt old man suddenly said, "Everyone, close your eyes and recite the communication saint spell." 50 devotees closed their eyes, murmuring the words, "Heavenly King, your virtue is boundless. Heavenly King, your virtue is boundless." The dark green liquid began to spin, faster and faster, until it finally transformed into a scaleless green snake about a foot long. Upon closer inspection, the head of the snake appeared to be a faceless person with dark green hair, gender indiscernible. Its face cracked open, and a forked tongue emerged, slithering from the body of the gaunt old man to Wang Linkai's face. At this moment, Wang Linkai's eyes gleamed with fanaticism. In his world, a divine figure in green scale armor descended from the heavens, their countenance noble and majestic, step by step approaching Wang Linkai, and said with a magnetic, ethereal voice straight into his spiritual heart, "Mortal, do you wish to praise my true name, spread my deeds, venerate me as a father, flow with my blood, believe in my will, protect my body, and act with my authority? From now on, without regret, without betrayal, without disrespect, for life after life. I am willing, I am willing. Open your heart wide, and divine power will come." The green serpent gently tapped Wang Linkai's forehead with its head. Wang Linkai opened his mouth, and the serpent coiled around his head, appearing to gaze indifferently at the surrounding believers. Suddenly, the serpent issued a piercing scream and shot out a beam of green light towards a corner. A devotee there showed a look of terror, immediately stood, and ran for the exit. But the green light was incredibly fast and soon pierced through his body, causing him to collapse into the water with a splash. The gaunt old man's face changed dramatically. Damn it! This person was not a true believer. Tonight's revelation of the divine ceremony might be exposed. Deploy the drone to check the surroundings. The gaunt old man immediately went outside the boat, looking up at the night sky. Hiss. Strange sounds came from inside the boat. The green serpent was nowhere to be seen. Wang Linkai felt an incomparable power within himself and cracked a smile. In an instant, a prickling, itchy feeling rose beneath his skin, and layers of green scales emerged like bamboo shoots, covering him. With each breath, he was clad in dark green scale armor, radiating a metallic luster. Seeing this peculiar scene, the other believers showed no fear. Rather, their eyes shone with fanaticism, and they saw Wang Linkai as a mighty green-armored heavenly god. The gaunt old man entered and looked pleased. "Not bad, your divine wisdom is strong. The rest of you see this. This is a divine miracle. Today, I, as incense master, declare Wang Link, the 13th divine general, to follow me." By then, Wang Linkai had already reigned in his power, looking no different from an ordinary person. "Thank you, incense master." Wang Linkai was ecstatic. This was the power he had dreamt of. Those ordinary martial artists who spent years in arduous practice were still no match for him. With only divine wisdom and devout faith in the divine, one could attain extraordinary powers. It was such a great thing, an opportunity for everyone in Dezia to become as mighty as dragons, and yet the official stance was to suppress the holy sect, utterly absurd. At that moment, Wang Linkai's faith became even more resolute. The gaunt old man, watching the images transmitted by the drone, sighed. Too bad we can't stay in Sioux City anymore. He began murmuring a spell. Suddenly, a ghostly green flame appeared in the bowl. With a gentle tilt, he released the green flame like ghost fire which scattered throughout the expansive garden. He looked at those devotees with eyes full of piety. These people came from all walks of life, all desiring the power bestowed by the divine. But without divine wisdom, it was all in vain. The devotees said, "Incense Master, when will we receive the divine gift? I've already donated 3 million incense money. I have persuaded 3 people to join the sect." The gaunt old man smiled and said, "Rest assured, I will now bestow power upon you all." He recited a spell, and suddenly a green mist emanated within the bodies of the ordinary believers, something they had unwittingly inhaled during the earlier revelation ceremony. Their eyes flashed an eerie green light, their faces turning a purplish color like athletes injected with stimulants, giving them an illusion that they could rip apart anything. "Go forth, fight for the holy sect, and after death you shall enter the saint realm." As his words fell, those believers, chanting, "Heavenly King, your virtue is boundless," charged out into the rainy night, their bizarre howls incessant. "The 13th Divine General, follow me." The gaunt old man ignited the painted boat, recited a spell, surrounded himself with green light, and followed by 9 silhouettes, he dove into the artificial lake. They swam stealthily and reached a secret door. Chapter 144, 129 Night Battle Divine General /3. This area connects to the Grand Canal. He had just swum out when he sensed danger. On the bank of the canal, a shadowy figure had already been waiting for a long time. He was burly, his muscles straining against his uniform, exuding an invisible aura of the red evil tiger all around, his body glowing with a faint red luminescence, like a man on fire. The pouring rain couldn't come close, evaporating into steam as it approached. "Red evil tiger Chen Zhen." The gaunt old man's face became solemn, then he sneered. "Just you alone thinking to capture me, dream on." A white shadow swooped in. The old man's figure was suddenly cradled by green smoke to the left, and then he leaped onto the garden's iron fence. The very spot where he had been standing was now bent and deformed, the floor shattered and dust billowed, a graceful silhouette emerged. Cloudcatcher Kyan Ming. A chill ran down the old man's spine. Today might indeed be the day he met his downfall. At the entrance of the Wind Wave Forest, 2 strong men had already been taken down by Yao Cheng alone. Lu Chenju followed at the rear, entering last. Together with Old Tian, Chen Ziyuan, and Leopard Woman, he delved deeper into the garden. Suddenly, a violent change occurred. White Tiger breaking army. A male cultist whose chi blood was extraordinary jumped down from a tree wielding a dagger, striking directly at Lu Chenju's neck with the White Tiger mountain split. He was a martial artist, even comprehending dark force. The move caught Chenju by surprise, a chilling wind aimed right at his back. White Tiger saber technique. Lu Chenju sidestepped with a sweeping step, dodging the attack. The man landed on the ground and rushed forward, the dagger's cold light flickering in the dark night as he slashed at Chenju again. Lu Chenju was protected by hard qigong, but he knew that when facing sharp weapons, evasion was the best strategy. Caution is never misplaced. He dodged the man's slash once more, and with a swift motion of his right claw, he grabbed the man's wrist, twisted it hard, and heard a crack. The man cried out in pain, his dagger falling to the ground. Chenju also broke the man's left wrist, the severe pain causing the man to sweat coldly. Bang! The man was knocked unconscious and sent flying over 10 meters by Chenju's tiger, venerate mountain shattering palm. Lu Chenju looked at the dagger on the ground, was about to bend over to pick it up, when suddenly a chill surged from within his Daling acupoint. The man on the ground, who had had a ball of green light appear in his mouth at some unknown point, shot it towards Chenju, who rolled out of the way swiftly, quickly putting distance between them. The green light missed its target. It was an ethereal figure in green robes, standing on embroidered shoes, holding a green oil paper umbrella, its face as pale as snow like a painted face from Peking opera, but its cheeks were adorned with bright red rouge, and it had literally a cherry-small mouth. Giggle, giggle, giggle. It walked with a sway, its laughter barely concealing something more sinister. The chill of the rainy night approached as the green-robed figure lunged at Chenju, who had already activated his hard qigong and felt the warmth from his protective suit. Indeed a void thing, Come, I'll tear you apart. Slap. A whip crack reverberated, a long whip glowing with a faint blue light struck, coiling around the green-robed figure like a spiritual snake. With a swish, the figure uncontrollably flew backward, and then the whip was raised high and slammed down fiercely. The ear-piercing sound of the whip breaking the silence of the rainy night cracked the bluestone floor, sending chips flying. The green-robed figure screamed pitifully. A slender figure landed from the corridor above, her veiny hands gripping a 4-meter-long soft whip, her legs firmly staked to the ground. Chen Zion said, "Lu Chenju, step aside. I'm going to whip this ghostly thing to death." Chen Zion shouted, and the whip lashed back and forth over the green-robed figure on the ground. Clearly, this was a high-level item from the Void Blade collection, very powerful. Chenju, seeing her unharmed, stood guard for her. Not far ahead in the study, Old Tian and Leopard Woman were also fighting ferociously, with people constantly being ejected from the broken wooden windows, some even thrown into the lotus pond, cries of agony filling the air. The rain grew heavier, and Chen Zion, a 9th-ranked talent from the genius class, was managing to suppress this dangerous-level void thing, proving womankind's equal mettle to men. Suddenly, Chenju noticed a green shadow flicker in the dark night out of the corner of his eye. Another void thing. Lu Chenju readied his stance when he saw a green shadow flash over the ivy-covered rooftop of the corridor behind Chen Zion. Moving as fast as a rabbit, he shot out with sea-sweeping body, bypassing Chen Zion's falling whip, using the sprint inertia to unleash a tiger tail leg like a sweeping torrential force. 8th-ranked dark force exploded, clashing against something hard, eliciting a sharp collision. A green shadow whipped away, falling into the water ahead. Splash, the green shadow hit the water, emitting a hissing roar. Damnable, this divine general will tear you to shreds. A humanoid figure with dark green scales appeared from the water, its tongue flicking out. None other than Su Huiqiang, the 13th divine general, who had just been favored by the great heavenly king and endowed with divine power. Bang, bang, bang. 3 gunshots rang out. 1 hit the water surface, 2 hit the divine general right in the chest. Scales shattered and sparks flew as bullets embedded themselves. Despite the severe pain, his life was not in danger, but Zhao Wang was uncontrollably furious. Having just received the divine gift, how could he endure this affront? He shot out of the water and charged ashore. "You're a martial artist, right? And you shoot from ambushes." The green-scaled monster which Zhao Wang had transformed into had sharp green scales growing on its palms, about 3 inches long, resembling claws. During this time he took 3 more bullets, the momentum lost upon entering his body. They posed no fatal threat. Chenju had already reloaded, facing an enemy of unknown strength, first suppress with gunfire, then safely execute the killing blow. Chapter 145, 129 Night Battle Divine General /4. Die. The green-scaled monster leaped more than 10 feet high, lunging toward Lu Chenju to kill him, the stench of blood assaulting his senses. As is well known, martial arts experts in actual combat always avoid making such high leaps. Such a move means being an easy target, easy to predict. And so, the monster frustratingly took several more bullets. Damn it! Little Wang had been hit by 6 bullets, fresh red blood oozing out continually. Relying on the enhanced body granted by divine power, he clumsily moved with his movement technique, braving the bullets to come face to face with Lu Chenju. Lu Chenju wasn't going to engage him in direct combat either. Using the sea-sweeping body, he treaded across the waves to the pavilion in the middle of the pond, drew out his gun, and fired several more shots. He felt his divine power and life force slipping away. He had originally thought that acquiring divine power would allow him to slaughter his way through all quarters, earning him the respect of those martial artists who looked down on him. He hadn't expected his first battle to be so frustrating. Enraged and at the brink, he charged to the shore and leaped just like pulling up a spring onion to the pavilion. Lu Chenju stepped back, swept towards a pillar of the pavilion, and then with a kick off the wall and a flip, harnessed the force of the rebound to gather all his dark force at his elbow, ready to strike. This move, the tiger form combined with the Badgy Fist lineage, the tiger venerate heart-top elbow, was incredibly powerful. With a loud bang, the 8th-ranked dark force exploded instantaneously, the snap resonating in the night like firecrackers. Little Wang felt as if a car on the freeway had slammed into his chest, his scaled chest deformed, and the force of the dark force, like striking a bull across a mountain, shattered his internal organs. Not yet fully mutated ribs snapped into 5 pieces, Stomach acid churned in his belly, and his mouth was awash with fluids. He was sent flying back to the shore by Lu Chenju, who then gave up on this tough nut and turned to attack Chen Xiaoan instead. Seeing this, Chen Xiaoan grasped the green-clothed void thing by its throat with the void-breaking gloves and with a loud smack, slammed it against a pillar of the corridor. She took a moment to catch her breath, switched the whip to her right hand, retreated with her right foot to shake the ground, and gathered the ninth-rank dark force in her right hand. Suddenly twisting around, the whip coiled through the air 3 times like a serpent, and then snapped straight. Serpentine triple echo. Crag, crag, crag. All the force exploded at the tip of the whip, even more formidable than Lu Chenju's heart-top elbow. Little Wang, unable to even see what it was once again blasted away by a bizarre force. Scales scattered, his form crashing towards Lu Chenju in the pavilion, who sidestepped the flying body, using its momentum to thrust the dagger with concentrated dark force, precisely hitting the injured area where the scales had been stripped away. PFF. Lu Chenju utilized the yin-yang umbrella spin to buffer and borrow the force, standing over his enemy's chest like an ancient divine general, and with a shaking pivot, channeled all his strength to the tip at one point, driving the short blade through bones and innards, piercing out the other side, and then dashed toward a pillar. Bang! Little Wang clutched at his excruciatingly painful chest as he was nailed to the pillar, the divine power within him too weak to turn the tide. He longed to chant the only divine art he had learned. Great Heavenly King! Shut up! Bang, bang, bang! 3 consecutive shots, a spray of blood mist. Lu Chenju put a gun into the enemy's mouth, hitting the target with perfect accuracy, released the gun and primed his fists, the double peaks piercing ears, striking his enemy's temples from both sides. Each hit contained the terrifying tiger form dark force, capable of breaking stones, shaking the pavilion. Somewhere along the way, little Wang's gaze grew vacant. His head had already split open. His life force ebbed rapidly. In his final moments, the slideshow of his life showed only the existence of a laboring ox, unable to excel in literature, inadequate in martial arts, failing to make money, unable to afford a house, not acquiring a wife, disrespected by others. And when he finally received divine favor, the good days of transformation became his death day. The wretched life is over. Outside Wind Wave Forest, a hazy figure emerged, a boneless, delicate, naked woman. Her face was breathtaking. Using the torrential rain for cover, she glided to the protective river not far away, and with a dive, splashed into it, causing ripples to spread. And then underneath the river's surface, a fleeting blood-colored bird's shadow disappeared without a trace. Chapter 146, 130 Tiger Roar Garden. About 3 kilometers from Wind Wave Forest, Dr. Chen, wearing gold-rimmed glasses and looking refined, had just dressed up. A female internet celebrity was soundly asleep on the bed, her face flushed red, clearly having just gone through a fierce battle. Dr. Chen lit a cigarette and sat in a rocking chair on the balcony, enjoying the salty breeze of the rainy night. He gazed towards the distant Wind Wave Forest, a smile playing on his lips. Putting on such a grand display for a saint-revealing ceremony, aren't they just waiting to be wiped out in one fell swoop? I was hoping Su Huiqian would draw their fire for a bit longer. Seems like he's going to meet the Heavenly King tonight. Well, it's a good opportunity to use the police to weaken my competitors in the Heart Happiness sect, to avoid future competition for followers. In the genius classes field training, there's usually a teacher secretly protecting them. It's enough for Blood Bodhisattva to kill one genius in this battle. If it misses, it should quickly flee. Blood Bodhisattva, unlike ordinary void things, hides within the human body. As long as it doesn't act, its presence won't be detected, especially in such chaotic circumstances, even by the teachers, until it makes its move. The students in the genius class are priceless treasures of Dazia. Killing just one would earn significant merit within his sect, redeemable for necessary items. Wind Wave Forest. Yao Cheng, wearing void-breaking gloves, struck with eagle claw at an unimaginable speed. The green-clothed phantom in front of him had no chance to escape and was ultimately torn apart in a violent frenzy, dissolving into a green luminescence that the rain washed away. On another rockery, Zhou Xingkang's dragon form burst forth with an aura of speed and strength. His agile dragon claw captured a green-clothed void thing wearing a Confucian cap and holding a folding fan, his face red-eyed and his lips cherry red. Then he plummeted from the sky. Cloud Dragon shaking the earth. Bang! At the peak of the 9th rank, his chi blood and dark force exploded together, shattering all the stones in a 3-foot radius where he fell. The green-clothed void thing scattered into an indistinct glow, its luminescence fading. Zio, he was still struggling in a fierce battle with a wide-bodied, fat, green-clothed void thing. The perfect level, Ape King Palm, was also terrifyingly fierce, but killing a void thing still took time. Third-rank cultivation was indeed insignificant in the genius class. Suddenly, Wang Hondo appeared atop a pink wall, resembling a colossal whale looming out of the clouds, awe-inspiring. His rich chi blood flowing through the Yangtze acupoints bestowed him with an unbelievable power. He leaped from the air, and before his fist even connected, the wind had cleared the rainwater puddles, and his unadorned heavy fist smashed into the ground. Bang! The green-clothed void thing, entangled with Zio, he, as if struck by lightning, could no longer endure and with a wail disintegrated into ash, leaving Zio he staring at the spreading cracks in the central stone tiles, stunned for a moment before he reluctantly remarked, "Wang brother, I could have handled it. You're too slow. I feared an accident, and I sensed high-risk, floating-level void things in the garden. Let's regroup with old Tian and others first to see the situation." Okay. As the four were about to leave, they saw a green ghostly fire shape skimming across the ground, with an emaciated old man at its center muttering sinisterly. Bang, bang, bang. All four reacted swiftly. Without hesitation, a barrage of dense bullets enveloped the skinny old man, only to be blocked by his eternal green fire surrounding him, the bullets entering it like a stone sinking into the sea. They ultimately fell powerless to the ground before even reaching the old man. "Ha, thinking you could penetrate this incense master's protective divine fire with these little tricks. Pure fantasy. You young ones with strength surpassing the third rank must surely be the geniuses from Dragon City Martial Arts University. Today's a good day to settle the score with you all. You guys step back." Wang Hondao suddenly roared, and in an instant, his invisible aura surged like a giant whale breaking through the depths of the sea, stirring up thousands of waves. He made a movement reminiscent of hard qigong. Whale-form fist technique is quite special. Its founder combined some knowledge from cross-training because, despite the peak power of whale form, it lacks flexibility and mobility. Thus, it absorbs some advantages of cross-training to potentially boost a cultivator's defensive power, allowing whale-form fist practitioners to exploit the right opportunity to pulverize their enemy like thunder. Wang Hondao had mastered a first-class fist technique called whale flipping sea fist, created by the founder of whale form and current master of the sky-suppressing mystic whale Wang Kun, the leading figure of whale form, who with his own strength placed whale form among the 100 shapes. In this moment, his extreme limit realm burst forth, seemingly stronger than the combination of the other three. Even the extremely proud Yao and Zhou felt inferior. Is this Wang Hondao's true strength? Among the Tinglong Six, Wang Hondao was the strongest and the most low-key. Now, he was blocking the fierce cult incense master to protect his companions, warming their hearts. Like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The emaciated old man's green fiery divine flame suddenly extended two intertwining snake heads. They kept spreading, turning into a 3-meter green flame python that strangled towards Wang Hondao, the high temperature sweeping in. Wang Hondao, standing unmoved, tore his casual clothes to reveal muscles wrapped in a high-level protective suit. Whale flipping sea power. Wang Hondao's Hua realm activated, his biceps bulging as if dragons and snakes were threading under his protective suit. He reached out with his large arms, enveloping the giant python and suddenly flipping it like a massive whale. Boom! The green python shattered into a burst of green flames. Wang Hondao, dressed in the high-level protective suit, walked out from the green fire, his invisible force field displacing the flames. He grabbed the snakes' heads, crushing them effortlessly, his formidable aura filling the air as a contemptuous smile graced his lips. Chapter 147, 130 Tiger Roar Garden /2. Your divine arts are nothing special. The gaunt old man flew into a rage. Hard-mouthed little brat. He chanted a spell, and just then, suddenly chunks of artificial rock came hurtling through the air. It was the other three taking the opportunity to assist Wang Hondao from a distance. Although they were arrogant, they dared not confront the incense master directly. Die. Years of enterprise destroyed and further taunted by a junior, the gaunt old man went mad. After dodging an attack with a green fire, he waved his hand, and this time 18 green snakes tore through the air towards them, obviously a ranged attack meant to wipe them out at once. Suddenly, a figure fell from the sky. He tread on clouds and moon, his palms waved like blossoming lotuses, smashing the green snakes. With a bang, the figure shot up from the ground, blasting up countless mists of water, then struck the gaunt old man's protective divine fire like a beam of white light, the wind from the gale palm strike preventing any rainwater from getting close. A Japanese symbol CLOUD pushing. His body emitted white luminescence, spinning like a yin-yang fish, unleashing incredible power. His palm covered in white light ignored the high temperature and pierced through the protective green flames. The gaunt old man was sent flying, spitting out fresh blood. Damn, he caught up so fast. Where are my divine generals? Splashing. On the lake's surface, white steam soared into the sky. A figure moved across the water, boiling it wherever he went. His face was red as guan-gongs. Behind him on the lake floated 6 mutilated bodies with charred wounds, their bodies also more or less covered in green scales, just like little wangs, including the 2 divine generals killed by other experts from the police force. 13 core disciples, 9 now slain. And Jen initially thought to capture these people alive for questioning, but realized the cultists, one by one truly maniacal beyond reason, like moths to a flame undeterred by death, which is the primary reason why cases involving evil calamity were harder to solve than those involving black calamity. Capturing normal human criminals, even martial artists, Dazia had ample experience, but these cultists, possessing the strength of gods or devils, were impenetrable, and many could only be killed. Seeing he was once again surrounded by 2 martial artists, the gaunt old man's eyelids twitched wildly, pondering a way out. Chen Zhen, carrying the momentum of tiger evil, came smothering him, his strikes powerful and unrivaled compared to Qian Ming. The gaunt old man dared not take them head-on, but his movements were tightly blocked by Qian Ming, getting kicked back no matter which direction he tried. He knew his situation was dire. Too bad, I will not be able to personally greet the descent of our god. The gaunt old man's eyes filled with reluctance, and his decaying body suddenly ignited. His clothes burnt away, revealing a lean body covered in dark green scales. The green flames made his flesh translucent like jade, showing mutated organs completely different from humans. Get away from here! Chen Zhen shouted loudly. The old man's pupils turned to vertical slits, his sinister forked tongue flicking in and out. He gave a chilling laugh, his body unnaturally stretching like rubber, sections of his dark green ribs turning inside out forming limb-like centipede legs. Brilliant saint realm, mighty divine presence. Blazing holy fire, consume my divine body. Merciful heavenly king, pity the mortals. He howled incomprehensibly, his turned-out ribs enveloping Chen Zhen, who had closed in for the combat. His right claw, covered in sinister green scales, reached for his chest. Red EVIL Japanese symbol TIGER armor. Rich crimson luminescence gathered at his chest, warding off the strike. Qian Ming turned into a white blur, shattering the monstrous ribs and rescuing Chen Zhen from the middle. Elsewhere, Old Tian and the others were surrounded by dozens of ferocious cultists. Chen Zion's long whip whirled like a windmill, sending any cultist that got close flying viciously. Lu Chenju, like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, roared, immediately causing 2 men to faint. He was attacked by a group of people with various weapons, intermittently pelted with broken rocks and steel reinforcement. He dodged and weaved, exploiting the close, quick advantages of tiger form to their fullest, sending bodies flying in all directions, bones breaking audibly. Soon, there was a large number of people lying around him, moaning in pain. Lu Chenju showed no mercy, knocking each out with a palm strike, then bound them with willow branches like wrapping rice dumplings. After catching his breath, he looked around. The sounds of fighting and gunfire seemed much reduced. He said gravely, "Seems like most of the regular cultists are dealt with." He looked toward the martial arts tree. Both Tiger Spirit Divine Fist and Arhat Skill had improved slightly. Getting hit by others also counted as percussive training. Protected by hard Qigong, he wasn't even slightly injured. Chen Zion dipped her long whip into the water to wash off the bloodstains. Lu Chenju casually asked, "How much for your void blade?" 13 million. Lu Chenju's corner of the eye twitched. This whip was more expensive than Master's Yannian saber. This woman really was wealthy. The night's fight against the cultists made him realize that participating in practical training really required a handy weapon. Before martial artists existed, the lethality of alloy cold weapons was absolutely a dimension-reducing strike against ordinary fists and palms. Even for martial artists, if they were not top-level experts, alloy weapons still had their uses. He became even more eager to win the Jiangnan talent competition to have money to buy a better void blade. He had long had his eye on a fist blade weapon, but alas, money was short. After regaining his breath for a moment, the four of them moved to assist elsewhere. The Tingquen Pavilion. A man in a suit holding a dagger stilled his breath and concentrated, hiding behind the corner of a wall, listening to the increasing sound of approaching footsteps. A cruel smile appeared on his face. Chapter 148, 130 Tiger Roar Garden /3. For the Holy Master. He suddenly sprung into action, his dagger unstintingly stabbing towards the short-haired youth in front of him. With a casual hand block, Lu Chenju deflected the dagger into the pool. His calm eyes carried a tiger power's murderous energy as he reached out and seized the assailant by the throat. The man's face turned purple and he couldn't breathe. He struggled desperately to no avail. Just as he was about to expire, he felt himself being flung away, then wrapped up by a long whip and brought before a long ponytailed girl. Chen Zioan's fingers struck, hitting the person's heavenly rushing acupoint, and he promptly passed out. Zioan, you know acupoint striking? Leopard woman, still chewing gum, asked in surprise. I learned some from my grandfather, I know a little. Well, worthy of being from a martial arts family. The four of them proceeded with caution, occasionally chatting. After this practical training, their relationship had clearly grown much closer. They no longer held the same defensiveness as before. In school, competitive cultivation was still unambiguous, but when cooperation was needed, they approached their comrades with a sincere heart, truly displaying the temperament of martial artists. At this time, the ordinary followers in the pavilion had been dealt with. One by one, they lay on the ground, moaning in pain, as the police took them away and loaded them into the vehicles. Although the genius class had few members, most of the followers had been subdued by them. Suddenly, Leopard Woman's ears twitched with alertness. There are footsteps coming, not far from us. With the cultivation of leopard form and her naturally sensitive ears, Leopard Woman's perception was extraordinarily sharp. Her figure flipped, and she rolled behind a fake mountain. Lu Chenju also halted, lightly leaping into a nearby small building, hiding around the corner. Old Tian climbed onto the eaves and lay flat, while Chen Zioan hid behind a large willow tree. Bang, bang, bang. Gunshots clashed, seemingly between two groups. Lu Chenju's expression shifted slightly. Even the cultists have guns. Before long, two groups pursued each other to this place, darting back and forth, firing their weapons. Bullets ricocheted off the fake mountain, white walls and railings. The scream of bullets was incessant. Among them, a weirdo wearing a protective suit and a vicious green-scaled helmet, even holding a submachine gun, was firing wildly. He shot indiscriminately, his intense firepower pinning down the police on the other side of the arch bridge. The weirdo laughed maniacally. Ha ha ha, fucking exhilarating. You motherfucker, you shot me. Another weirdo dove into the water, cursing and swearing. These two were the second Divine General and the fourth Divine General, followers of the Incense Master for a long time, both with a strength comparable to ninth-rank martial artists. With what they called divine arts, even those at the extreme limit realm should not underestimate them. Of course, the strongest among the 13 Divine Generals was the first Divine General, who could match the extreme limit realm. At that moment, he and the third Divine General were being surrounded by Wang Hongdao's four-person team. On the police side, two first-level armed policemen, led by Zhao Liu, were exchanging gunfire with the weirdos while hiding behind cover. They also noticed Old Tian lying on the rooftop. Before long, the second Divine General ran out of bullets. He rolled away swiftly, tumbling several times before taking cover behind a fake mountain. Just as he settled in, his submachine gun was grabbed by a wheat-colored slender hand, which instantly dealt him a severe blow in the groin. Surprise or what? Leopard Woman's mouth shot out a piece of gum like an arrow, sticking precisely to the second Divine General's left eye. Out of nowhere, she found a bag of lime and doused the Divine General's face with it, then slapped his wet sleeve on his face with a sizzle, causing white smoke to rise as the Divine General screamed in agony holding his eyes. Leopard Woman took advantage of his distraction to take his gun. She also smoothly pilfered a box of cartridges from the weirdo, performed several flips to increase the distance, and then, cat-like, climbed a willow tree to reload. Lu Chenju, observing secretly, thought to himself, I should also keep some lime handy in the future. The fourth divine general underwater was shocked. He hadn't expected there to be people hiding here. He aimed his handgun at Leopard Woman's hiding spot, firing several shots, sending wood chips flying. Crack! A whip lashed through the air, knocking the fourth divine general's handgun flying over 10 meters away into the water. Chen Xiaoan struck with her whip and quickly concealed herself again. The teamwork of the genius class was perfectly in sync. There are still experts. The two divine generals panicked. The second divine general muttered in his mouth. The scales on his body suddenly vibrated, buzzing, and then he spun around, his green scales shooting out like a hailstorm of pear blossom needles in all directions, burrowing into tree trunks, shattering stones, splashing water, and penetrating into nearby buildings. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lu Chenju looked up and saw 3 streaks of light whiz over his head, 2 embedding into the wall in front, and 1 deflecting off metal before being bounced back. He slightly tilted his body to dodge. That was close, good thing I didn't rush out. Lu Chenju examined the scale at his side, taking a careful look, but he didn't dare touch it. Evil skills were mysterious and unpredictable. If he contaminated himself with any sort of energy, it wouldn't be good. After a while, the scale suddenly softened and turned into a puff of green smoke that dissipated, leaving behind only a small piece of bloodied human flesh and tissue. Are these derived from the transformation of human organs? Truly bizarre. How can flesh and blood mutate so quickly? Martial arts require enduring hundreds of trials. There's no such thing as a free lunch in the world. This kind of power obtained from external sources must have a tremendous price to pay. Lu Chenju had no interest in the power of the cult. He continued to hide, waiting for the right moment to act. Crack! Suddenly, a bolt of lightning cut across the night sky. With the chill of the Daling acupoint surging like a tide, Lu Chenju suddenly looked towards the ceiling. Using the flash of lightning, he saw a green figure sprawled on the ceiling like a spider. Chapter 149, 130 Tiger Roar Garden /4. His face was pale with flushed cheeks, eyes round and teeth chiseled. His head turned 180 degrees, giving Lu Chenju a sinister smile. There are still void things. Lu Chenju suddenly flipped over, and the shadow, like lightning, struck where he had just been, forming a layer of frost on the ground and an overflow of cold air. Missing its target, the eerie void thing entered the wall, leaving a trail of frost and a creaking noise. Lu Chenju quickly retreated to the center of the room, remaining unchanging to respond to myriad changes. Facing such a monster, he knew he couldn't rely on the walls. He readied his stance, slightly shifting and rotating, listening intently in all directions, his tiger-like eyes scanning around, not forgetting to watch the ceiling. Whoosh! A blast of cold wind struck. He suddenly leaped up, performing a hawk flip to dodge, only to see a pair of 4 ghastly white limbs emerging from the ground, nearly causing him to falter. Enemies were all around, front, back, left, right, above, and below. The troublesome nature of these void things was fully demonstrated. Their direct lethality wasn't as great as those monsters or cultists, but they were far more dangerous. Having missed, the void thing hit again. Only the stereo surround of eerie laughter distracted Lu Chenju's mind. Roar! Lu Chenju suddenly cried out, unleashing a tiger roar. The king of the mountain forest, the supreme among 100 beasts. Demons and ghosts scatter with one roar. In a corner of the wall, a green shadow appeared. It was the green-dressed void thing forced out of its invisibility. The roar had struck an inexplicable fear into it, causing its shape to uncontrollably emerge from the wall. Lu Chenju dashed forward, a tiger claw smashing into the wall, the void-breaking gloves flickering with fluorescence, grabbing hold of the void thing. The void thing struggled fiercely, its frost power spreading and moving up Lu Chenju's right arm. An ordinary person would have been frozen solid by now. But Lu Chenju, an 8th-rank martial artist, was ablaze with chi blood. Roar! He roared again, his voice echoing through the garden. Instantly, false hills, ponds, and bushes, flickers of green ghost fire were shockingly forced out. These were low-level floating void things released by the emaciated old man, weak in strength, mostly using illusions to bully ordinary people. Officer Liu, we've detected traces of the void things. Quick, annihilate them all to prevent them from growing stronger. The police showed joy, their void things detectors continuously flashing fluorescence. But catching void things in such a vast garden wasn't easy. The recent roar that resonated around them was a great help. What was that roar? Did a tiger get loose? It's terrifying. It feels like an instinctual fear. In a certain loft, Wu Zun puzzledly said, Vajra lion roar. Li Gui shook his head. No, it's the special ability one might comprehend from mastering Tiger Supreme Fist at a high level. I didn't expect Lu Chenju to have comprehended it. Interesting. As he knew, Tiger Supreme Fist, originally derived from Shaolin, one of the famed 72 Shaolin secret techniques, was a first-class sound wave technique known as Vajra lion roar. The reason Tiger Supreme Fist practitioners paired their cultivation with roars was also based on the wind, panting, breath, four major breathing techniques within Vajra lion roar. When this sound wave technique was mastered, a lion roar could sound like thunder from 9 heavens, audible for miles, terrifying people to their core, much like the mythical figure, the Buddhist Bodhisattva's mount, Golden Lion, descending to quell ordinary evils. Tingquen Pavilion. With the two intimidating roars, Lu Chenju grasped both hands on the green-dressed void thing, twisted, and sidestepped into a sweeping kick, smashing it against the wall. Utilizing the rebounding force, he leaped towards the other side, pulling the green-dressed void thing out like pulling a radish. A cold and gloomy tactile sensation emerged on his chest. It was the void thing attacking his body, penetrating his low-level protective suit and mingling with Lu Chenju's burning hot bronze body. Sizzle, steam rose. To hell with you. Lu Chenju, despite the void thing's attack, did not let go. Catching it again would be difficult. He slammed it forcefully onto the ground. The forceful attack cracked the floor. The void-breaking gloves glowed as Lu Chenju held down the void thing with one hand, while the other continuously performed charging punch, deeply penetrating the body of the void thing like crushing garlic. The substance of the void thing visibly thinned slightly, but killing it was still an effort. His equipment was too damaged. He could only continue roaring to accelerate the kill. Crack, suddenly, another flash of lightning exploded outside the window. In the electric light, there seemed to be a trace of blood. A figure of a naked woman burst out from the lake outside the building. Her face was stunningly pale, exuding a cold aura. Swish! With her hands like knives, thick blood flowing down her arms, accompanied by the friction sound of metal clashing, transformed into layers of shimmering red crystal-like translucent feathers. Her hands also eerily elongated into a pair of blood-winged wings spanning several meters. Fine red feathers also grew from her temples, a magnificent blood-colored feather crown sprouting from her head, resembling a bodhisattva's topknot, with fan-shaped long plumes growing on her legs. She looked like a peacock. Her target was clear, her right wing stabbing like a long sword towards Lu Chenju's nape. Lu Chenju sensed the danger, but as he hadn't yet killed the void thing, he could only clutch the void thing and roll sideways, narrowly dodging the sneak attack from behind. The woman, missing her strike, switched to her left wing, transformed into a large scimitar, chopping down as forcefully as splitting Hua Mountain. Bang! A flying iron kick came, unstoppable in momentum, swiping the wing aside. The massive inertia from the woman's lunge actually drove the wing into the wall. Chapter 150, 130 Tiger Roar Garden /5. Thanks, Lu Chenju said to Old Tian. Old Tian got into position, his tone grave as he said, This one seems like she's not part of Su Huiqiang's group. Seeing this, the woman's arms spun like windmills, her wings shimmering with blood light and forming a crescent moon arc, forcing Old Tian and Lu Chenju to retreat and dodge. Where the wings passed, a crack was etched into the wall and the wooden furniture was smoothly sliced through. The woman forced the two men back and then folded her body, flying out the window. Her initial intention was to assassinate Lu Chenju, according to Dr. Chen's intelligence. Among the group of 8, Lu Chenju's strength was the weakest, at most a 7th rank level. Plus, Lu Chenju was busy fighting with the void things and couldn't afford to be distracted, clearly making him the ideal target. But unfortunately, Lu Chenju's reaction was too quick. And with Old Tian unexpectedly intervening, her plan was completely disrupted. Old Tian bellowed, Think you can escape? No way. Whether or not she was part of the same group, and whether or not she had anything to do with this case, it was clear this woman was also a monster, most likely a cultist from some other cult. If he could kill her, it would definitely significantly boost his rating, and Old Tian would not miss out on this chance. He chased after her. Lu Chenju did not pursue. He needed to focus on killing the void thing in front of him, to prevent it from escaping. Rating second, safety first. Outside the window, the woman skimmed over several zhang, stepped atop a rockery, then flew to the top of the wall. Having missed her strike, she followed her master's command to flee. If the martial artists in the garden were alerted and chased after her, she would die here for nothing. Dr. Chen had put a lot of effort into cultivating her. She spread her wings, about to vanish into the rainy night. Bang! Suddenly a whip lashed out. It was Chen Zioyan who had spotted her. The whip, like a python, wrapped around the woman's ankle, emitting a phosphorescent glow. The woman, quick to react, vigorously chopped at the whip with her wing, striking sparks of orange. "Come down, will you?" Chen Zioyan's legs were firm as nails, slowly retreating step by step. At this moment, Leopard Woman was riding atop the bloodied fourth Divine General, her legs clamping down on his arms while using her elbow to lock his neck. Then suddenly she twisted. Crack! The Divine General's neck turned 180 degrees. The crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. He still had a hint of breath left when Leopard Woman's 3 fingers, transformed into a spear, plunged into his eye sockets. Phut! The sound of fingers stirring brain matter echoed. Leopard Woman, gasping for air, pulled out her bloody fingers and landed from the swaying corpse. Why are there still more? It never ends. Leopard Woman chewed her gum, lightly leaping up onto the wall. Then she took out a pair of shiny, alloy gleaming silver, 4-fingered knuckles from her pocket. This was a weapon designed to be worn on the palms to enhance punching power, not allowed in sparring but meant for killing. She moved effortlessly across the loose wall tiles, and with a sweeping leg kick, she brought the woman down from the wall. Without support, the woman was dragged back by Chen Zioyan, but she had rich combat experience and simply went with the flow, her wings thrusting forward to the ground, rebounding herself and alternating leg stabs forward, the red tail feathers slashing out a brilliant red crescent arc like a peacock's tail. Chen Zioyan kept retreating. The woman freed herself from the whip and with her magnificent wings crossed in front of her, attacking in quick succession, paired with horizontal leg slashes, wreaking havoc wherever she went. Leopard Woman and Old Tian arrived, joining the siege. Within the room, Lu Chenju paired his tiger roar with the worst void-breaking gloves, forcefully bombarding a nearly high-risk void thing into a blur, barely clinging to life. He grabbed the faint figure of the void thing, rushing out of the room, and then charged forward, bursting through the curtain of rain, smashing against a big tree like the front of a locomotive. Boom! Having been tormented for so long, the void thing couldn't take it anymore, its form starting to fracture and dissolve, turning into green phosphorescent light scattering into the void, dim in the rainy night. The thick willow tree shook violently, its branches and leaves rustling. Crack! A deep fissure surfaced. The bark split open, revealing a shattered core. He looked towards the other side. The blood feather sorceress was much stronger than those just defeated green-scaled divine generals. Her every move was precise and calculated. She must have had some martial arts background. Alone, she held out for so long against the surround of 3 ninth-rank experts, possessing extreme limit realm strength. Snap! With her arms crossed, the woman used her wings as a shield to block Chen Zioyan's whip. She spread her wings, emitting a sharp cry that pierced through the clouds and shattered stones. In the brief moment everyone was dazed, the woman broke through and fled, like an arrow released from a bow. Roar! Lu Chenju let out a thunderous roar, his defensive suit bulging with hard qigong, his veins and muscles etched clearly upon his body. He performed a shock step, predicting her trajectory, took a flying swallow sea flying step forward, and then landed a sweeping tiger tail leg from midair. Slap! 8th rank dark force, paired with hard qigong, sent the desperate woman flying into a small stone bridge, cracks spreading through the solid white jade stone. You sneak attacked me just now it's my turn. Thump, thump, thump. Lu Chenju exhaled like thunder, crossing his arms, standing sturdy as an arhat. Tiger Spirit Divine Strike, inviting Tiger to possess. The spirit of the fierce tiger was just ignited, and the intent to kill could not cease. Chapter 151, 131 Vajra Tiger, Evil Peacock. In the attic, Li Gui and Wu Zun's expressions changed slightly. There's an aura of void things, but it's not quite like ordinary void things. Is this also one of Su Huiqiang's subordinates? It was not mentioned in the intelligence. It's not clear, but it's not from the Holy Master Sect. For now, the Holy Master Sect's mutated forms vary greatly, but all of them feature those green scales. Among the 7 major cults in the country, Su City has mainly captured live mutated cultists from the Holy Master Sect. However, traces of another cult have been found, though they are well hidden. The Heart Happiness Sect. Yes, they once wreaked havoc on Sun and Moon Island and were annihilated by the Dragon and Tiger Palace, but have recently re-emerged. Whether it's them or not, we need to be more cautious. Just as we suspected, there are other forces attempting to muddle through and assassinate our geniuses. It seems someone in the Stone Lake police force has leaked the news of the live training to the cult. Let's hope it's not a betrayal by a martial artist. It's not easy for a nation and its people to raise a martial artist. It's quite a pity if they die. Li Gui's tiger-like eyes seem to flicker with a faint yellow light. His captivating eyes scan the surroundings, as if he intended to take in all hidden prey around Wind Wave Forest. The owner of this blood-feathered woman must be watching Wind Wave Forest from the shadows. Unfortunately, he had to protect these geniuses and couldn't leave. Otherwise, he would have liked to meet them. To attempt assassination under his nose of the geniuses from Dragon City Martial Arts University, this person was indeed bold. Tinquen Pavilion. The blood-feathered woman stopped by Lu Chenju showed fierce light in her eyes. Her feet coiled like a bow. With a bang, she burst out, her straight-line speed far exceeding that of Lu Chenju. However, Lu Chenju's agility was even better, his sea-sweeping body moving fluidly. He dashed into a nearby rockery, for the Black Tiger Fist did not excel in open areas and couldn't make full use of close combat techniques, so Lu Chenju intended to lure the enemy into his own domain. Inside the rockery, skinny rocks towered and strange stones sprawled. The sharp edges of the stones would cause any careless person to bleed from the head. The woman's wings were broad. Seeing Lu Chenju enter a rock cave, she retracted her wings and followed in. Her sharp feather blades collided with the protruding boulders, stone chips flew and dust filled the air. As she passed through a fork suddenly, a fist the size of a sandbag burst through the air. In a cramped and rugged place, her large size offered no room to dodge. Retracting her wings, she lost her strongest defense and weapon. A crisp sound was heard as dark force stabbed into the woman's right rib, sending her flying sideways, brutally crashing against the sharp rock wall. Unlike the green-scaled mutants, her body was not fully covered with feathers. Her soft waist was pierced, blood flowing freely. With a shrill scream, she spread her feather blades and stabbed wildly into the darkness, her body ricocheting out, slashing around in a disordered frenzy. When absolute strength is sufficient, neither techniques nor finesse are necessary to form a terrifying attack. The feather blades sliced through the chunks of stone, creating sparks. At this moment, Lu Chenju had already dashed out from under the cave of the rockery and lightly climbed onto the roof of the cave. Roar! Lu Chenju roared. The moment the feather blade woman showed her head, emerging from the cave, she felt a gust of wind attack her. A shadow charged with a running start. Lu Chenju shook violently as if his body were an engine, all organs working together. He drew back his arms, his right hand with Tiger Venerate Heaven opening palm aimed at the neck, and his left hand with Tiger Venerate Earth splitting palm aimed at the slender waist, unleashing the dark force. Bang, the crisp sound tore through the night. Struck by a serious blow, the woman flew 3 meters away onto a white wall, causing a widespread web of cracks to appear on the plaster and dust to scatter. Lu Chenju knew these injuries were not enough to kill the woman and didn't dare to pursue for an extra strike, quickly turning to return to the cave. Blood-feather woman, devoid of pain, numbly turned around. Blood and flesh swelled on her body surface. The beauty heads within her were frenziedly gnawing at her organs. The tremendous power of humans implanted with the blood bodhisattva came at the cost of their vitality. The blood bodhisattva, by nature, belonged to void things. It was weak in combat. It gained strength by parasitizing a human body, stimulating mutation in flesh and blood. After exhausting a host, the blood bodhisattva would leave to find a new host and grow rapidly. A fully mature blood bodhisattva could initiate the blood peacock form, extracting the host's blood and hardening it into splendid blood feathers covering the limbs, capable of gold cutting and jade breaking. Below a martial artist, a direct hit would result in injury at best or decapitation at worst. The blood-feathered woman turned and flapped her wings, climbing up the wall and attempting to escape. But the sound of slicing air came again, and a whip killed forward. Whack! The waist of the woman, previously injured by Lu Chenju, was wrapped by the whip. She spread her blood feathers, stabbing them into the flesh and into the gaps of the whip, using self-mutilation with her iron-like wings to hold the long whip and avoid being cut in half. Get down here! Chen Zion's face turned red, veins bulging. Shriek! The woman, howling, clung to the wall and spun around, her great strength pulling Chen Zion forward unstoppably, making it difficult to hold her ground. Chen Zion saw a tree ahead, bursting forth all her strength, planted her feet at the base of the tree, winding the whip around it. Whack! With a snap of the whip and a jolt, Chen Zion couldn't help but grunt, and the woman wasn't much better off, but by then she had already used her wings to untangle the whip. At this point, knowing she couldn't run, she focused her gaze on Lu Chenju, hiding in a cave waiting for the right moment to strike, murderously overflowing. Lu Chenju inwardly muttered, "Why do I feel like this damn thing harbors the strongest killing intent for me? Could it be that she's picking on the softer target? And those blood feathers on her, they seem familiar." Lu Chenju remembered the encounter with the void things at Heitai Villa. Mrs. Lin had also grown blade-like blood feathers at her ankles, somewhat similar to those of the woman before him. Chapter 152, 131 Vajra Tiger, Evil Peacock /2. He couldn't afford to think too much right now. Leopard Woman came down from the wall and slipped into the artificial mountain cave through an entrance on one side. Her leopard form was a close-quarters boxing technique, and with her 9th-rank cultivation, cooperating with Lu Chenju, there was hope of killing the enemy. Chen Zion hid behind a tree, her whip in hand, blocking one of the cave entrances. Her whip technique couldn't unfold in such a confined space. Old Tian waited at another entrance. Inside the artificial mountain, Lu Chenju and the woman clashed in close combat once again, relying on the void-breaking gloves and hard qi gong. His powerful and unmatched punches and claws struck out like thunder, attacking the woman's soft ribs, grasping at her armpits, or stabbing toward her throat, all killing moves. The woman learned from her previous lesson, making smaller movements but with greater speed. Her feather blades and daggers stabbed fiercely. Lu Chenju sometimes spread his hands to block, other times propped up his arms to block. Shaking, lifting, intercepting, and other 8 techniques instincts had formed, preventing the woman's attacks from causing any substantial damage. Occasionally hit a few times, she could not pierce through his protective suit, but the force was indeed ferocious. Even with hard qi gong protecting his body, Lu Chenju felt a sharp pain, his internal organs constantly trembling. If it weren't for the protective suit, he would have been pierced through by now. Even hard qi gong at second-class perfection couldn't withstand the strikes of those feather blades. He still had to rely on technological assistance. Roar! Lu Chenju's ferocity gradually unleashed in the fight, becoming more and more ruthless with each exchange. Fist, claw, and wing kept clashing, while he restrained the leopard woman, wearing gloves on her 4 knuckles, suddenly launched an attack from behind without a sound. She stepped forward like an arrow, left fist to the waist, right fist to the neck, her body leaned to the right, and with a fierce cry, she suddenly exerted her strength. Bang bang! Golden leopard double cannon. 2 explosive sounds echoed in the cave. The woman was seriously injured, her form unstable, and her steps in disarray as she collided toward Lu Chenju, who immediately sidestepped, grabbed her wing with one hand, summoned the yin-yang umbrella spin force, rotated like a discus thrower to gain momentum, and then threw her out. Tiger Venerate relying on the mountain. He pushed the woman toward the sharpest rock. Accompanied by the sound of metal clashing, the woman braced herself against the rock wall with a single wing at the last moment, saving her life, but Lu Chenju's dark force burst forth, and he locked both hands on her elbows and slammed his knee into her waist. Crack, the sound of bones shattering echoed in the cave. The woman's arm bones and spine suffered varying degrees of fractures. Her sharp leg blades hooked backward, aiming to kill at Lu Chenju's crotch, the place where he was most vulnerable. Lu Chenju was always vigilant, smashing her leg with a punch and then jumping away. Iron crotch skill, I'll start practicing it when I get back. Out of the way. Leopard Woman's killing move was also ready, and she charged forward fiercely. Just as the woman was turning around, a sharp metal blade pierced her throat, the 4-fingered fist. Golden Leopard Heaven Opening Fist. Leopard Woman thrust into her throat, and then a charging punch smashed the woman's head hard against the rock, cracking her skull. The blow was undoubtedly heavy. Whoosh! The woman's eyes turned blood-red instantly. The beauty head at her heart region had already devoured all her internal organs, while spewing out blood-colored flames that scorched her body. Raging blood flames swept upward, illuminating the entrance of the artificial mountain cave. The intertwining cold and scorching aura spread, and eerie laughter began to emerge. Leopard Woman's face changed with shock, and she immediately retreated. At this moment, the woman had transformed into a blood-colored phantom dancing like flames, her blood flame wings casting the enormous shadow of a peacock that seemed to devour heaven and earth on the rock wall. She had completely become an evil peacock. Bang! Leopard woman reacted quickly but still got knocked back, falling heavily to the ground before swiftly getting up and looking at her slightly dented intermediate protective suit. That was close. The evil peacock skimmed close to the ground, flying through the narrow cave toward leopard woman, stretching out its beak filled with sharp teeth toward her face. Roar! With a tiger roar, the evil peacock was slightly shaken. A figure burst out from an intersection instantly, his 5 claws like a tiger's, grabbing the blood-flame neck of the evil peacock, which was flickering between solid and insubstantial. The void-breaking gloves suddenly glowed brightly. Die! Lu Chenju with Black Tiger crossing the mountain, burst through brush and pounced, slamming the evil peacock against the rock wall, causing cracks to spread. He followed with a knee thrust upward into the evil peacock's soft belly while the protective suit's surface flickered. The woman's body shell suddenly vanished, turning into self-immolating blood flames. In the chest of the peacock, there appeared a heart that was a bloody, eerily beautiful and strange female head. Lu Chenju's heart chilled. It was indeed one of those void things, parasitizing Mrs. Lin's body. The mastermind behind the scenes was definitely the same person. Leopard woman attacked the heart in the peacock's chest. The evil peacock struggled relentlessly, but Lu Chenju fought to control it. Leopard woman reacted, leaping forward and inserting her 4-fingered fist into the evil peacock's chest. This was also a void blade, more powerful than the void-breaking gloves, with a blue glow that tore through everything, and at the moment of hitting the heart, the beauty head autonomously left the evil peacock's body, shooting away. The evil peacock quickly dissipated, vanishing without a trace. Still trying to escape, Lu Chenju's sea-sweeping body flew out. Roar! In the narrow, enclosed space, the power of the tiger roar was even greater. The beauty head, without its host's protection and faced with the tiger roar imbued with the power to suppress evil, was stunned for a moment. Snap! A large hand reached through the air, grabbing and holding it tightly. The fluorescence of the void-breaking gloves was brighter than ever before as Lu Chenju, with Vajra glaring, looked at the beauty head. Roar! As he roared, he ruthlessly kneaded and squeezed the beauty head, slamming it against the rock walls and the ground until his voice went hoarse and his body was soaked with sweat. Leopard woman, along with Old Tian and Chen Zioan who sensed something was off and came rushing over, all narrowed their eyes as they watched Lu Chenju continuously torment the beauty head like a fierce tiger. Before long, there were traces of blood seeping from Lu Chenju's fists. In his hands, the beauty head, a void thing, was on its last breath but had not yet died. Enduring the severe pain, he kept attacking, determined not to stop until death ensued. Wang Hongdao, along with the other 3, also joined them. He looked at the beauty head in Lu Chenju's hands, his brow furrowed, clearly unfamiliar with this type of void thing. Yao Zhou and he all felt a tremor in their hearts. They had never seen Lu Chenju with such an aura before. The stone fragments sliced by sharp weapons, and the chaos on the ground told them that a fierce battle had taken place here. Behind the wall next to Tinquin Pavilion, Li Gui and Wu Zun stood leaning against the wall. It seems our intervention is not needed. The youngsters are coordinating quite well. Indeed, joining forces to slay a void thing close to the extreme limit realm without any casualties marks a perfect end to this real combat training. Now all the dangerous void things in the garden had been killed by the genius class and the police force. All cultists had also been arrested, and Su Xianqiang had been put to death, reduced to a pile of ashes. Li Gui and Wu Zun flashed over the high wall and arrived at the entrance of the rockery. They looked at Lu Chenju, who was still trying to eradicate the void thing. Li Gui said, "Chenju, let me see what this thing is." The students were not at all surprised by the sudden appearance of the teachers. Although the school publicly claimed that no one would be protected during real combat training, in reality, they always arranged for at least one person who had broken through the second shackles to follow in secret, just in case. Lu Chenju stopped his movements. He handed the beauty head over to Li Gui. Li Gui grabbed it and examined it. "This is my first time seeing such a void thing." Wu Zun asked, "How should we deal with it?" Li Gui said, "Take it back to Dragon City. Not handing it over to the people of Stone Lake." "Not for now." Wu Zun understood, aware that Li Gui was concerned there might be issues within Stone Lake. The blood feather woman's appearance here was no coincidence. "Don't mention that we've been here, and don't bring up the recent matter of the void thing." After speaking, Li Gui and Wu Zun disappeared once again into the rainy night. Before long, Stone Lake's police arrived at Tinquin Pavilion. Cloudcatcher carried a specially made bag containing an ancient porcelain bowl. This was the possession of the emaciated old man, claimed by the cult to be a divine artifact. But in reality, it was an evil artifact with mysterious powers capable of releasing evil techniques. The police had confiscated many such artifacts. Only devotees of the deities with divine power could use evil artifacts, so they were all stored and researched in specialized institutions. Chen Zhen breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing that everyone was unharmed. "Thank you, everyone. The operation to close the net has been completed successfully." Chapter 153. 132. The storm settles down 3.4K. Outside Wind Wave Forest. The police were escorting cultists, preparing to interrogate them overnight. Lu Chenju looked at the garden in a state of disarray. The main culprits are still the high-level cult and those evil gods behind the scenes, turning their believers into monsters that are neither human nor ghost. What kind of goddamn deities are these? After regrouping, the 8 members of the genius class boarded the vehicle headed to the police station. They needed to assist the police with some investigative and evidence-gathering tasks, while also preventing people from smuggling prohibited cult items. In previous judicial assistance cases, martial arts university students secretly intercepted evil artifacts from a cult incense master and were bewitched by the power of the evil gods within, becoming new agents for the evil gods and continuing to wreak havoc in the human world. Inside the vehicle, Lu Chenju seemed to be closing his eyes to regulate his breath, but he was actually studying the martial arts tree. This satisfying real battle, whether practicing Arhat skill or Tiger Spirit Divine Fist, both proficiency levels rose a bit, comparable to several days of arduous cultivation. Indeed, real combat is what truly hones a person. If I could have these satisfying life-and-death combats every day. Forget it, first it's not realistic, second it's too dangerous. When compared, life is more important. My cultivation is advancing quickly enough. Lu Chenju opened his eyes and found Chen Zioan curiously observing him. "Do you need something?" "Chenju, was this really your first field training?" Lu Chenju smiled and said, "Yes." Leopard woman chewing gum gave a thumbs up and said, "For a first field training to perform like this, amazing. To be honest, I feel like when you slaughtered that blood-feather demon, the invisible evil chi you emitted means you must have killed before." Lu Chenju gave a slight smile, which served as an acknowledgement. The members of the genius class weren't particularly astonished. To encircle and suppress cultists in real combat training, killing was very normal. These guys couldn't be reasoned with, and they might use evil skills. To protect yourself, you had no choice but to kill. Aside from Ziohe, everyone in the genius class had been bloodied to more or less extent. Lu Chenju changed the subject and asked Leopard Woman, "Can I take a look at your four-finger fist technique?" Leopard Woman nodded and handed it to Lu Chenju. He wanted to try it on to feel it, but realized it didn't fit. Leopard Woman laughed and said, "This thing requires custom fitting. After all, it's not elastic, not like the void-breaking gloves. You also want to get one. Mine's cheap, only 3 million. Chen Zioan said, "It just so happens to be the leftover change from my green snake." Green Snake was the name of her whip. Like Jai Chuantong's swallow form, both are middle-level void blades. One needs a middle-level certificate exam, usually available for purchase by a martial artist with corresponding cultivation, but the genius class often has some privileges. In addition to that, Chen Zioan obviously came from a well-off martial arts family, so she could always get it. Middle-level void blades start at 10 million. Initially, instructor said his knife wasn't expensive. He wasn't pretending at all. Indeed, it was relatively cheap. Speaking of which, Lu Chenju only knew Chen Zioan was from a family, but there were quite a few Dazia families with the surname Chen. He also didn't know exactly which one. Having been at the school for so long, it seemed like his classmates in the genius class were all shrouded in mystery. Usually, everyone cultivated on their own and rarely communicated. This real combat training had made them somewhat acquainted. This was also the school's intention for arranging group combats. While martial artists, cultivation should be competitive, generally they should still remain united. Martial arts and technology were certainly powerful, yet they were far from enough against the supernatural and unknown threats from the void realm. This was not just an individual fight. This was a war of civilization. At 1 o'clock in the morning, the vehicles of the Stone Lake police drove into the yard. Just as everyone got out of the car, a figure walking with the vigor of a dragon and the ferocity of a tiger approached. It was Purple Lightning Palm Chinyu, the station head of Stone Lake Police Station. Chinyu clapped and laughed. It's great, this arrest operation was a total success. Thank you for your hard work, colleagues and the students of the genius class. All of you are heroes of this battle. Chen Zhen regretfully said. It's a pity that no living culprit was captured. Su Huiqiang burned himself to death. Chen Yu said, no problem, let's first see if we can get some useful information from the low-level cultists' testimonies. The Holy Master sect certainly has more than one secret stronghold in Sioux City. We need to intensify the inspection of various manufacturing factories. Such situations might be more common. Qian Ming looked at Lu Chenju and the others with a smile and said, this operation was so smoothly done without any casualties on our side, thanks to these 8 students. Station head, let's first do a simple check so everyone can return to the university to rest. At their age, they shouldn't stay up late. Qin Yu nodded and said, go ahead. Chen Zhen, call old Mr. Zhang. Tell him we're too busy today, it's urgent. We need the old master to come out of retirement to join us in interrogating this group of cultists, to prevent them from being silenced by evil skills. It had happened before within the police, where a cult's backup plan killed all of the cultists caught by the police, so it was necessary to interrogate them as soon as possible after the arrest. Okay. Chen Zhen made the call, and a hoarse voice came through. What's up, Chen? Instructor Zhang, can you make time to come to the police station? The net closing operation is finished. Yes. Good, that's pretty fast. No casualties on our side, right? None. And the kids from the genius class are all right. Yes, safe and sound. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone, then a smile came through. That's good, that's really good. Start the interrogation without me, I'll be right there. Dragon City Martial Arts University. The police escort delivered everyone safely back. Upon entering the school gate, Lu Chenju immediately felt at ease. The undercurrents in Sioux City were surging, yet it would be difficult to shake the martial arts university in a short time. With a breakthrough 5th defender in place, there truly was a full sense of security. Old Tian waved his hand and said, everyone go back and rest early. The homeroom teacher said that the results of this actual combat training will be out within a week. Then, depending on your scores, the 3 million bounty will be distributed. He also said that everyone performed very well and he is very satisfied. Hearing this, everyone felt a weight lifted from their hearts. It seemed everyone would pass the assessment. Wang Hongdao might even receive a special evaluation. Facing the sudden attack of the incense master, he shielded the other students. The school would naturally reward such behavior. Lu Chenju jogged back to villa number 32. Then he tiptoed back to his room. Li Xianghua and Lu Guoping had already fallen into a deep sleep. To maintain secrecy, such actual combat training couldn't even be disclosed to family members, as telling them wouldn't really make a difference. After taking a shower, Lu Chenju practiced the heavenly pile for a while, then lay on his bed, replaying today's battle in his mind. This was his first real taste of actual combat. Until now, it had all been small skirmishes. I do indeed have 9th rank battle strength now. Faced with green-clothed void things like those spiritual bodies, I have the tiger roar and tiger evil to counter them, and against cultists with organ mutations, I have hard qigong to protect my body, which means I'm more versatile than the average 9th rank. The average 9th rank was no match for Lu Chenju. What surprised him the most was the mountain forest sovereign divine seed. He desperately needed this ability to counter void things. Lu Chenju pondered. Among ordinary martial arts, the strongest sound wave technique is the Vajra Lion Roar. In the future when I have time, I should learn it. Swallow form and tiger form share many common aspects. Perhaps in the future, I could integrate the strengths of the lion roar entirely into my tiger form training, creating a stronger sound wave exorcism skill. And then there's the tiger spirit divine fist. As expected of a method to invite the gods, every time the tiger god descends, it temporarily boosts my physical qualities and intangible presence. The martial arts that teacher Hong Fu recommended to me, all were carefully selected by him. He put so much thought into it. No need to mention the Arhat skill, which is too useful. Although it's difficult to practice, once I achieve great success, under a martial artist, my defense will be unrivaled. If not for hard Qigong, that woman's feather blades wouldn't be able to penetrate the protective clothing, but the impact alone could have seriously injured my internal organs. I must achieve the Golden Buddha Arhat this year. Lu Chenju couldn't imagine just how tough he would be at that point. Bear form also performed well in the fight. Lu Chenju said, "The martial arts setup I have now is the best solution before I break through the shackles. In the future, I just need to follow this path and continuously strengthen and enhance it. Fierce tiger form plus agile bird form plus hard Qi Gong plus evil suppressing sound wave technique. Both offense and defense were covered, plus control, and even escape was formidable. Whether facing void things or other cultists, he could handle them with ease. Right now, what Lu Chenju lacked was equipment. The void-breaking gloves had too low killing power, and low-level protective clothing wasn't very effective. He opened the official website of the Martial Arts Association. On the Void Blade page, he clicked open a picture. A pair of fist blades with retractable claws, made entirely of silver C9 alloy. Unlike regular fist blades, they were designed like gloves and completely conformed to the human joints, not hindering any of the various tiger form fist boxing movements. Void Blade. Type Chi-Men Fist Blade. Level Mid-Level Void Blade. Price 20 million. Suitable for elephant form Baji and many other fist technique sects. Status out of stock. I saw there were some in stock yesterday. No matter, I don't have the money at the moment anyway. There are too many people practicing fist techniques, and while fist blades are a special equipment, they are still in high demand. However, as the production technology for void blades matures and supply increases, as long as I have the money, I won't worry about not being able to buy them. Outside Wind Wave Forest, in a residential building far away. Dr. Chen's face was expressionless. Through his divine arts connection, he sensed that the blood bodhisattva he had released was about to die, marking the assassination attempt as a failure. The blood bodhisattva specializes in stealth and assassination. Even though the martial artist was secretly protected, and the attack was launched at almost extreme limit realm strength, it should have been possible to take out Lu Chenju, who was at 7th rank before the instructors arrived, right? But according to the information from his spies, all 8 students from the genius class left unharmed. Dr. Chen was baffled because Lu Chenju had risen through the 8th rank too quickly, and the school did a very good job of keeping the genius secrets. The intelligence department of the Heart Happiness Sect's evaluation of Lu Chenju's battle strength was still in the 7th rank range. The Heart Happiness Sect was even less aware that Lu Chenju had already achieved great success in Arhat skill. In short, their intelligence update speed couldn't even keep up with the pace at which Lu Chenju was improving. Dr. Chen pulled out a heart from his right chest. The heart's surface was faintly covered in dense, bird-shaped characters, the heart music secret language, which only members of the Heart Happiness Sect could understand, unlike any written language in the world. Of course, some linguists in the void realm of the Dezia police force may have also cracked a part of it. Martial arts seedling removal plan Lu Chenju. Age 17. Strength 7th rank. Martial arts, tiger form hard Qigong. Talent evaluation, top-level Martial University genius class. Hunt reward, divine gifted seed 3rd grade. Wang Hong Dao. Martial arts whale form. Hunt reward, divine gifted seed 4th grade. Liu Huan. Martial arts bear form. Hunt reward, divine gifted seed 2nd grade. As the bird-shaped characters blinked continuously, familiar names emerged one after another. The 8 students from the genius class, the standout members from the regular class, students from Fangshan High School, all potential future martial artists from Sioux City were on this mysterious list. This was the martial arts seedling removal plan of the Heart Happiness Sect, aimed at clearing any potential obstacles that might hinder the spread of the divine glory of the Supreme Forget Sorrow Mother. As for those who had already become martial artists, they weren't on this list. These people didn't need a list. Every martial artist was a sworn enemy of the Heart Happiness Sect. When the gods descended upon the human world, all martial artists must be killed. These blasphemers, there was no need to nurture them. Chapter 154, 133 discuss merits and reward, 3.4K. What a pity, wasting a blood bodhisattva without obtaining the divine gifted seed. Surely we shouldn't mobilize an incense master just to deal with a group of brats who haven't even broken their shackles. An incense master must possess extremely high divine wisdom to succeed. Not everyone can merge with divine power and successfully mutate. Otherwise, the various sects would have long dominated the world. Leaving the room where he had been hiding, Dr. Chen got into the car. Inside the car was already an elderly man with black hair whose eyes were somewhat cloudy, but one could faintly sense the powerful aura emanating from him. This was an elder martial artist. The elder asked with a frown, "Did your action fail? Did you leave any traces behind?" Dr. Chen sneered. "If you had provided me with more useful information, this action would never have failed. Now, my blood bodhisattva is missing, and not dead, likely controlled by a martial arts expert. The police might have already guessed it was our sect's doing." The elder's face changed dramatically. "Weren't you certain of success? Now, Dragon City and our police force will definitely suspect that someone leaked the information about the real combat training exercise. There are so few people who know about this on Stone Lake's side. Will they eventually trace it back to me? What should I do?" Dr. Chen shrugged and laughed. "How would I know? I'm not the traitor. Besides, who said the leak had to come from the police side? It could just as well be Martial Arts University in Dragon City." The elder, emanating a terrifying aura, exploded within him like fireworks. Martial arts strong sound. Dr. Chen remained calm, touching his gold-rimmed glasses and taunted. "You want to make a move against the squad leader. Don't let anger cloud your judgment." He truly didn't take any mere martial artist seriously. The elder retracted his aura and said resignedly, "Your failure is your business. I've had enough of these years. Now we shall end our cooperation. Give me the life-extending treasure you promised and we'll go our separate ways." Dr. Chen laughed. "Old man, have you lost your mind out of fear of death? Even if you cut ties with us, you have already betrayed those who trusted you. Besides, the life-extending treasure is extremely precious within our sect. Judging by your achievements over the years, you still fall short for such a treasure." The elder's face turned ashen. "What do you mean?" Dr. Chen placed his hands on the steering wheel. "All secrets reveal themselves in time. There's always a flaw somewhere. Your exposure is inevitable and the consequences are clear. I can show you a way out. Turn from darkness to light and join the Heart Happiness sect. You can go to the Silver Eagle. We have a branch there. With your martial artist ability, you would easily fit in. As for the life-extending treasure, once you have earned enough merit within the sect, naturally it can be exchanged." The elder's face showed a fluctuating expression. "Chen, have you calculated all along? Whether the action succeeded or not, there's no loss for the Heart Happiness sect, only the gain of a martial artist in your ranks." Dr. Chen said, "Absorbed by our sect is also a blessing for you. You've also witnessed our master's strength. It's not just about extending your life by a mere couple of decades. As long as you are devout enough to please the Forget Sorrow Mother, extending your life by 6 decades wouldn't be difficult. Humans are too fragile. Even if you break through the 7 shackles, how do you compare to gods who live as long as the heavens and earth, the sun and the moon? You are still just a fleeting meteor in the night sky." The elder was filled with immense regret. In the face of death, consumed by momentary greed, he had set upon a path of no return. Chen Yangjing made sense. He and the Heart Happiness sect were now tied to the same fate. Chief Chen asking an aged martial police instructor to interrogate a prisoner in the middle of the night probably meant they had noticed something amiss with him. Perhaps a trap was already set at the police station. Family, colleagues, beloved comrades of martial arts. Everything he owned from today on, he would lose it all. Dr. Chen looked at the struggling old man and knew that his persuasion had worked. To strengthen the sect, there were only 2 ways: weaken the enemies and enhance oneself. With the life-extending treasure as a lure, this elder was only the beginning. The fear of aging and death is etched in human bones. Whether emperors or commoners, all beings in this tumultuous mortal world can't escape it. One day, the gods will descend upon the earth and turn the 9 provinces into a paradise. The elder seemed to age a lot more in an instant. With a sad look in his eyes, he said weakly, "All right, send me overseas." Dr. Chen's lips curved upward. "Do you want to say goodbye to your family before you leave?" "There's no need. 3 cannon hammers Zhang Fei is already dead." The next morning, Stone Lake Police Outpost. After working overtime on interrogations, Chief Chin suddenly stood up. He had called the old master more than a dozen times without response. Chen Yu said gravely, "Chen Zhen, why hasn't old master Zhang arrived yet?" "I don't know," he said. "He would be here soon. Maybe he has overslept again. After all, he is elderly and needs his sleep." As he spoke, Chen Zhen's expression changed. "Chief, what's wrong with the old master?" He thought about his previous suspicion of a mole in the station. Could it be old master Zhang? Zhang Fei, a graduate of the Imperial Capital Martial Arts University, had been in the police for many years and was assigned to Stone Lake to serve as the chief martial police instructor. Many of Stone Lake's outstanding martial police were trained by him, so everyone respected him deeply, hence the nickname Old Master. Chen Yu said word by word with a chilling voice. "Zhang Fei might have a problem. Find this person quickly." Meanwhile, on the shores of Stone Lake in the early hours of the morning, Lu Chenju was practicing Tiger Spirit Divine Strike. The battle last night had a significant impact on him. After all, it was his first time in high-intensity real combat. His understanding of the tiger form deepened, and by the second round, the leaves of the Divine Strike shone brightly. Lu Chenju was overjoyed in his heart. Inspiration had struck. He did not dare to waste any time, regulating his breathing. Sleeping Tiger awakening, leading Tiger down the mountain, inviting Tiger to possess. Each move was infused with the essence of the tiger form, and his proficiency in this difficult first-class martial art surprisingly soared until 4 hours later, when Lu Chenju ran out of energy right as the state dissipated. He looked at the martial arts tree. "I've improved by 13% in one go, so exhilarating. First-class martial arts, to improve so much in just one morning. If the others in the genius class knew, they would be envious to death." June 15th. Sioux City Dragon Martial Review Committee. The genius class fist technique instructors and some of the police personnel were here discussing the performance of the students in real combat training. One of the teachers said, "Wang Hongdao must receive a special evaluation, not to mention the heroic act of saving his classmates, just the feat of holding back a cult incense master and defeating the first divine general deserves such an assessment." Wu Zun said, "Zhou Xingkang isn't bad either. He alone killed 2 mid-danger floating-level void things, joined forces with Yao Cheng to kill the third divine general, and subdued 20 cultists." Li Gui said, "Everyone must have also seen the video of Lu Chenju's performance, coordinating with Xiaoan to kill the 13th divine general, subduing a group of cultists, his tiger roar that shook out a group of void things, and he even played a major role in killing the nearly extreme limit realm blood-feathered demon. I trust everyone will give a fair evaluation." After each year's practical training, it was time for the teachers of the talent class and the school's review committee to argue, all wanting to secure higher evaluations for their students. A high evaluation for a student benefited the teachers as well. Generally speaking, there are quota indicators for the evaluations of practical training. For instance, for special evaluations like this 8-person small class, it would be adequate to have 2. It shouldn't be too many. Otherwise, it cheapens the value of the rankings on the hidden dragon list. But with the performances this time, several of the 8 students in the talent class were neck and neck, putting the committee members in a difficult position. Such matters were also not suitable to trouble the principal or a grandmaster over. "Teachers, please return for now. We will discuss this thoroughly." That evening, the 8 students of the talent class all arrived at the homeroom teacher's home, where Li Xiaokan had already received the evaluation results. He scanned the group, then fixed his gaze on Wang Hongdao. "Wang Hongdao, special evaluation, plus 1,000 points." Wang Hongdao quickly responded with a salute. "Thank you, teacher, thank you to the school." This wasn't his first time receiving a special evaluation. With these 1,000 points, he wouldn't need to serve as a gatekeeper for 500 more times. He could move forward a bit, but just by a little. The further forward, the greater the point difference became. The others couldn't help but show disappointment in their expressions. Now there was only one spot left to compete for. But as disappointed as they were, no one had any complaints about Wang Hongdao receiving a special evaluation. Even proud individuals like Yao and Zhou supported him with both hands. Li Xiaokan smiled faintly and then turned to Chen Xiaoan. Xiaoan's performance was also commendable, particularly strong in team cooperation, especially in trapping that cultist demon twice, earning great merit, and thus she also receives a special evaluation. Chen Xiaoan clenched her fists, relieved internally. "Thank you, teacher. It's mainly thanks to the cooperation of my classmates, especially Lu Chenju. Our partnership that night was quite enjoyable. She looked at Lu Chenju, feeling some regret within. She thought that Lu Chenju also deserved a special evaluation. Yao and Zhou were disappointed in their hearts. If only that blood-feathered demon had come after us. Yao Cheng thought to himself. After watching the video, he also had the confidence to defeat that demon. For Lu Chenju, on the other hand, his heart was calm. He was content with a Class A evaluation. Having recently arrived with the lowest realm and not a top-class root bone, he didn't covet much. After all, he was confident in surpassing them in the future. Li Xiaokan observed everyone's reactions and finally turned to Lu Chenju with a smile. Chenju, as the main force in killing the blood-feathered demon, also receives a special evaluation. Everyone else, all Class A evaluations. Does anyone have any objections? 3 special evaluations this time. Everyone was slightly startled. Li Xiaokan smiled and explained. There's no need to be puzzled. All of you performed exceptionally well, so the review committee decided to allocate 3 special and 5 Class A slots in recognition of your achievements. The actual situation was that, in the intelligence communicated between the school and the police, there had been no mention of the variable of the blood-feathered demon, which made the mission far more difficult. In the end, the matter was reported to the principal, who decided to compensate the talent class. Seeing that none of the 3 spots were his, Yao Cheng began to feel a bit frustrated. Teacher, I believe I too deserve a special evaluation. Li Xiaokan knew he would have an opinion and patiently said. Your performance was good, but not enough for a special. Is it because I killed 2 ordinary cultists? No, self-defense leading to the accidental killing of a criminal does not count as a deduction. Yao Cheng asked no further. It seemed that he really was technically inferior and hadn't performed well enough. Next time, he would certainly astonish the review committee. Li Xiaokan inquired. Does anyone else have an objection? Everyone spoke in unison. None. Then this meeting is adjourned. On the way back, Lu Chenju felt a sense of unexpected joy within. The points were secondary. What was most important was the money. According to this score, he could claim 1/5 of the reward money, which amounted to a hefty 600,000. It was indeed a substantial sum. Generally, only bounties set by martial artists could reach 500,000. However, the difficulties of the Wind Wave Forest were indeed high. Had it not been for the experts of the talent class, others might have fallen there, so the money was well deserved. Congratulations, Lu Chenju, on earning a special evaluation on your first practical training. Chen Zion took the initiative to come over and greet him. Lu Chenju smiled. Good luck. Chen Zion watched Yao Cheng's villa door bang shut. You're very strong. I reckon some people are enviously dying. Lu Chenju looked toward villa number 32. This is my place. See you in class tomorrow. Sure, you can come over to villa number 18 anytime on weekdays for a friendly bout. Chen Zion recognized Lu Chenju's strength and was itching for a challenge. The next day, Lu Chenju turned on his phone, and there were 3 new notifications. Your account number ending in 9527 has received 600,000. Your current balance is 840,000. Your hidden dragon points increased by 1,000. The total score is 5701, currently ranked 1414. You've received 20 points of great merit from school affairs. Current balance 45 great merit. Non-build PS. I'll be posting 2 chapters at dawn today, mainly because I estimate some readers may stay up late to wait for updates. There will be 2 more chapters at noon. Starting from the 3rd, all updates will be released at noon, so everyone won't need to wait up late for them. Chapter 155. 134 Hidden Dragon Martial Arts Competition, 3K. 840,000. Looking at the balance, Lu Chenju let out a long sigh of relief. Inside the top martial university, if you didn't have a few 100,000 on you, there wasn't the slightest sense of security. There were too many places to spend money. It's just a pity that purchasing the high-tech fist blade I want is still a distant dream. Even if I get the championship prize money, I'll have to set some aside for medicine. Whether he could win the championship in October, Lu Chenju was not completely confident. In the Yangtze River Delta, with a population in the billions, there was no lack of individuals who had sudden insights with low-class root bone. Do what you can, leave the rest to fate. Lu Chenju opened the hidden dragon list and took a look. Tian Xingjin, rank 1350. I'm catching up to old Tian. The tail end of the genius class with 8 people. Zio he now ranked 1635. All of a sudden, Lu Chenju noticed that Jai Feiyan's ranking seemed to have risen a lot from before, soaring from over 2300 to over 2200, a rise by several hundred points. Sister Feiyan must be 9th rank by now. A 9th rank at 21 years old is also quite impressive, truly deserving of her reputation as last year's prominent figure at Fangshan Dragon City High School. Shiruyu was still climbing slowly. If she could reach 9th rank next year, staying on at the university could be said to be almost certain. Then it would be a steady journey to becoming a martial artist. 1 door, 3 true inheritors, all martial artists. On that day, Jai Chuantong would probably not be able to stop smiling. Flying Swallow Martial Arts Hall could also rank among the top in Sioux City. In fact, ever since Lu Chenju made his remarkable entrance, apart from the noble martial arts academies, Flying Swallow Martial Arts Hall had already left the ordinary ones in the dust. The academy's business had been getting better and better lately, and the master had hired some third-rank experts who had graduated from Martial Arts University as assistants to expand the academy's scale. Overall, Jai Chuantong had more than made back the money invested in the 2 inheritors, resulting in a win-win situation. Sioux City Anti-Void Department. Researcher Liu, wearing protective gear, looked at the beauty head inside the container which was gradually fading away, flanked by 2 stout men, one of which was Li Gui and the other was Lu Feng. 2 of Sioux City's 9 tigers had arrived. How is it the same kind of void things discovered on Sun and Moon Island? Lu Feng's face was stern. The beauty head reminded him of the prosthetic Black Knight who had been killed by Lu Chenju, whose heart had begun to mutate and grown a bizarre human face, similar to this head but much more vague. This one was clear. His teacher, Gongju, had mentioned the Heart Happiness sect at the time. This once devastating cult on Sun and Moon Island was now surfacing in Sioux City, intensifying the police force's pressure to combat cults. Compared to Sun and Moon Island's Heart Happiness sect, Sioux City's Heart Happiness sect was even more covert. Researcher Liu said, "It's a void thing, somewhat similar to the ones found on Sun and Moon Island before, but not exactly the same. It looks like the cultists are constantly updating their methods. As the old saying goes, the greater the skill, the more devilish the tricks. Eradicating cults is an arduous and long-term task." Heart Happiness sect, Lu Feng murmured. Due to Zhang Fei's stabbing case, the class for talents was ultimately handed over to the Pingjiang branch for processing. No one was clear on whether there were any more of Zhang Fei's accomplices among the group from Stone Lake. Li Gui bowed and said, "Officer Lu Feng, I'll have to trouble you to conduct the investigation on our behalf. If you uncover the mastermind lurking behind the scenes and need assistance from Dragon City Martial Arts University, just ask." Lu Feng returned the gesture. "I also thank Mr. Li for providing the leads. Once Zhang Fei is captured and the case is resolved, we will surely find out who the mastermind behind this case is. I never expected that a traitor would emerge from within our police ranks, and we shall certainly bring them to justice." He had great respect for old teachers like Li Gui. It's because of these individual sacrifices that martial arts can be passed down from generation to generation. Stone Lake Police Outpost. Chen Zhen's brows were tightly knit. According to Frontline Intelligence, Zhang Fei had likely smuggled himself out of the country, which made capturing him very difficult. As an experienced colleague, Zhang Fei had strong anti-surveillance capabilities. His collaboration with the cult was also truly unknown to his family. Now it was unclear who Zhang Fei was working for. After some thought, Chen Zhen called Lu Feng. "Director Lu, what is it?" "I'd like to assist in the investigation of the Zhang Fei and Beauty Head case." "Chen Zhen, your situation is special right now. You understand the reason why the case was handed over to us from above. Don't get involved. Better to keep your distance." "Director Lu, I have a suspect in mind." "Who?" "Beautiful Life Cosmetic Surgery Hospital, Chen Yangjing." "Evidence?" "No direct evidence, but there are some speculations. Last year's 8.7 Heitai collision with Void case was under my jurisdiction. There was something similar to a beauty head void thing inhabiting the body of the deceased Lin Bin's wife, ultimately killed by Lu Chenju." "Go on." I found in Mrs. Lin Bin's cell phone contacts that she had an affair with Chen Yanjing before her death and had undergone cosmetic surgery at his clinic. To thoroughly investigate the case, I checked all her contacts, including Chen Yanjing. Nothing abnormal was discovered at the time, and in the end, the matter was dropped. Later, I privately investigated the female patients Chen Yanjing had contact with. They all praised the doctor highly, regarding him as their confidant, and were bowled over by his so-called charismatic personality. I just checked the guy's information, and he's indeed a handsome young man. It's normal for the women who go for plastic surgery to like this type of man. I feel there's something indescribably pathological about these people. Indeed, they're quite pathological, and I can't stand that kind of aesthetic. They're a bit like they're possessed. Phrases like reject female self-destruction, enjoy a beautiful life, and beauty is a woman's primary productive force. They treat beauty as a faith. However, when I thought about it carefully, these words didn't seem problematic. Nor could I label these thoughts as cult ideologies. They're merely personal value differences. That's true, but what does this have to do with Chen Yanjing? Our jurisdiction just received a missing persons report today. A young woman left home on June 8th and hasn't returned. According to the missing woman's husband, she had recently undergone plastic surgery at the Beautiful Life Hospital. On the other end of the phone, Lu Feng spoke gravely. Did Chen Yanjing perform the surgery? Yes. The practical training was on the 9th, so you suspect it was Chen Yanjing who directed the void thing to control the woman to assassinate the talent class. 2 consecutive cases are hard to chalk up to coincidence. Have you seen the on-site video footage? Is the slain blood-feather demon woman the missing person? She doesn't quite resemble her, but cults usually possess the evil skill of disguise. If Chen Yanjing was involved, he would certainly have made some disguises to prevent exposure. All right, I understand the general situation. Director Lu, we must find the mastermind behind the scenes. In both assassination cases, Lu Chenju was involved, and I suspect that he is the target, the newly emerging tiger form genius. We must strike hard to quell the brazen arrogance of the cults. June 20th, early morning. Villa number 32. Lu Chenju finished his heavenly pile cultivation. The extreme pain brought about the opening of the 16th acupoint, Yangtze, in just 1 month and 5 days. The price he paid was over 7 hours of daily heavenly pile cultivation. Only then could he practice punches and hard qi gong. With the Yangtze opened, a stream of mysterious power surged from the acupoint. The human body possesses yang qi, which can counteract the negative yin and evil. From now on, when encountering low-risk and weak void things, my yang qi combined with tiger roar will be able to quell them. Of course, killing medium-risk and higher void things with yang qi alone is still difficult, but paired with the void-breaking gloves, my damage against void things is subtly enhanced. During the morning's heavenly pile class, hearing that Lu Chenju had opened the 16th acupoint, Wu Zun calculated internally. It's been just 36 days this time, impressive as always. Thinking back on Lu Chenju's performance in practical training, Wu Zun knew that if this trend continued, the one with the highest achievement among the 8 in the talent class might not be Wang Hongdao, nor the Grandmaster descendant Yao Cheng, but this commoner boy in front of him. A dragon does not dwell in shallow waters. Once met with a storm, it transforms. Lu Chenju might bring a big surprise to Sioux City Dragon Marshal. No wonder Principal Wang was keen on supporting him as an inspirational example and representative of the branch school. Wu Zun smiled and said, Lu Chenju, today your master will teach you the method to open the Yancha acupoint. The Yang pool is the place where Yang Qi germinates. This is another vitally important acupoint. Acupoints related to Yang Qi are keys to restraining void things in the future. The innate strength of martial artists that subdues void things is also inseparable from the application of Yang Qi. In the blink of an eye, time reached the end of June. Apart from the golden jade ointment and qi returning and body-correcting pills, there were only 2 months' worth of other medicines left in Fangshan's grand gift package. Lu Chenju's 45 great merits were as yet unused. He planned to save these for the cutting edge, to learn the iron crotch skill from Chen Ju, and for the pre-breakthrough striking practice of Arhat skill. On a regular day, he would use Zio He, turning the power to maximum for a fierce assault. Otherwise, it would only tickle him. As for Wang Gang, he had just finished his summer examination and was still rated as Class B, firmly average. Every weekend, he would come to practice striking with Lu Chenju. After his cultivation, Lu Chenju looked at the calendar and murmured, "November is the Hidden Dragon Martial Arts Competition." The Hidden Dragon Martial Arts Competition, held annually, is independently conducted within each branch of Dragon City Martial Arts University. In principle, any Dragon Martial student under 35 could participate. Those who meet the Hidden Dragon list criteria are eligible to sign up. The competition is separated by cultivation groups. There are two categories, martial artists and samurais. It's pointless to have samurais fight martial artists. Without the aid of technology, divine weapons, or taking advantage of someone's weakness and other special circumstances, the likelihood of overcoming and winning across a large realm is close to zero. A 10th-ranked samurai defeating a martial artist at their full capacity through sheer strength is a tale unheard of in history. To date, no such news or videos have surfaced, just sparse, dubious legends stemming from old-world hearsay, none of which hold truth. Even the Kangshan Dragon King, the fastest to break through 7 limitations in his time, had no known incidents of overcoming a higher realm in battle. One could only imagine the difficulty. Other top-level powerhouses are in the same boat. As yet, only in the early stages of martial arts could practitioners of both internal and external teachings in extreme limit realm clash hard with a martial artist. But defeating them still proved difficult. This was the 7 great limitations. A series of chasms crossing humanity's path to the heavens.